Parashat
Vayakhel.
Pekudei. So, when a person receives a job, he gets into a new job or something, it is almost clear to all that the first thing that a person should do is to find out what his job is and what he needs to do to succeed. What are the work conditions? In order to understand our spiritual work, which is required of us to do in this world, it's very important to pay attention to the words of the Ramchal in Mesilat Yesharim. It says the following, and I'm quoting, "V'hineh samo hakadosh baruch hu la'adam b'makom sherabim hamarchikim oto mimeno yitbarach." Kadosh Baruch Hu, God, had placed man in this world in a place where there's going to be a lot of obstacles in a way that going to cause you distance between you and God. And what are those obstacles? Vehem hata'avot hachomriyot, materialistic desires, possessions, food, sex, all those pleasures that people always are running after. Asher imashech acharein, הרי הוא מתרחק והולך מן הטוב האמיתי. If you chase after them, you're going to remove yourself and put a distance between you and the ultimate good and what really is good. ונמצא שהוא מושם באמת בתוך המלחמה החזקה. And therefore you would see that you are in some kind of a fierce battle. כי כל ענייני העולם, all aspects of this world, בין לטוב, בין לרע, whether it's for good, whether it's for bad, הנה הם ניסיונות לאדם, these are tests for you. העוני מצד אחד, poverty on one hand, והעושר מצד אחד, and wealth on the other side, that's a test also. השלווה מצד אחד, tranquility, harmony, והייסורים, thank you, והייסורים, and suffering on the other hand. עד שנמצאת המלחמה אליו פנים ואחור, until you're going to find yourself fighting your enemies both in the front and in the back, all around you. ואם יהיה לבן חיל וינצח המלחמה מכל הצדדים, and if you're going to become a fierce warrior, you're going to win this war from all sides of you. הוא יהיה האדם השלם אשר יזכה להידבק בברו. Then he will be a complete human being that would reach the level of attachment to God. ויצא מן הפרוזדור הזה וייכנס בטרקלין ליאור באור החיים. And he's going to walk away from the hallway into the great chamber, into the great hall, and he's going to be shone upon with the light of life. וכפי השיעור אשר כבש את יצרו ותאוותו, as much as it was hard for you to overcome your desire and your urges, ונתרחק מן המרחיקים, and you remove yourself from those bad influences, המרחיקים אותו מהטוב, will remove you from the good, or try to remove you. ונשתדל להידבק בו, and you're trying to make your effort to attach yourself, to clinch to הקדוש ברוך הוא, כן ישיגהו וישמח בו. In other words, your reward is going to be measured based on your great desire and your ability to overcome it. And so therefore, according to that, the purpose, the reason and the purpose of all this kind of work is, as it says in Sefer Dvarim, Dvarim, how do you say in English? Deuteronomy, chapter
17.
30, verse
6.
20. It's time, guys, you gotta do Shnai Mikro Echad Targum. And the purpose is le'ahava et Hashem Elokecha, to love thy God, lishmoa bekolo, to listen to his words, uledofka bo, and to attach yourself to God. You really doubt that you could do that when you're on a cruise to the Bahamas or an airplane to Dubai. This parasha deals with a repetition of all the details of building the Mishkan, the tabernacle. The word Mishkan really comes from shochen, but also reminds us of the word meshicha, to pull, to attract. So this parasha teaches us how to be able to overcome these gravitational forces, this external gravitational forces of this word, and all those things that make us a way to put some distance between us and God, and mainly the issues of making a living, parnasa. How to strengthen this internal gravitational force of us inside with emunah and with the sensation of ve'ani kirvat elokim li tov, and the closeness to God. That's what makes me feel good. And that's going to be in Psalms chapter
29,
113.
32.
Okay, any other guesses? Ayin Gimel, 73, verse 28. Don't even try. Increase your numbers over there. To attach yourself in good in any single moment of your life. So therefore the action of Vayakhel, which is in this parasha, really comes to create a certain force against the hitka'alut, the gathering of the Erev Rav, those foreign, or the fifth column among us that really caused us the golden calf. Vayikalu ha'am. So ha'am, that's going to be the Erev Rav, as it says, Vayar ha'am ki boshesh Moshe laredet mi'ahar, and the people saw that Moses is late for coming from the mountain. Vayikhal ha'am al Aaron, and they gathered the Am around the Aaron. Vayamru elav, kum asalanu elokim asher yelchu lefanenu, please make us God which will walk ahead of us. Ki ze Moshe ha'ish asher ha'elenu me'eretz Mitzrayim, lo yadanu ma haya lo. Because Moses, the guy who took us out of Egypt, we have no idea what happened to him. The Zohar teaches us that any place that it says the word ha'am, just the word ha'am, we are talking about the Erev Rav. And this parasha opens in the words Vayakhel Moshe, who et kol adat bnei Israel, all adat bnei Israel, vayomer alehem, and he said to them, Ele hadvarim asher tziva Hashem la'asot otam. So this one, the Truma for the Mishkan, and the whole avodah of the Mishkan only includes adat bnei Israel without the Erev Rav. However, those words are much deeper than that. The Torah is giving us here an eternal message of how to conduct ourselves in our lives. The word adat, and you know I love to do that. If you like the word adat, how do you spell adat?
Ayin Dad.
Ayin Dad. What word has the same letters?
Teda.
Dat. Dat, very good. Shma'aya Sadiq. The word dat. So the intention is that a person should gather his own dat, his own intellect, and gather it in order to separate that from the klipa of the Erev Rav that is hovering on each and every one of us. All those doubts in your head, all those issues of emunah that we have, these are klipot of the Erev Rav. So therefore you need to gather your true self, your pure part inside of you. All these imaginations that we have, all these illusions that we always fall. You know, a person thinks that if he buys his wife a Rolex watch, she'll be happy. A wife thinks if she buys her husband I don't know what. No, a red
Lamborghini.
No, the Alfa Romeos. Yeah, well, that will make a guy happy. But also a Mustang GT will make a man happy. But you know what I'm saying? You think that's going to make him happy. That's not what is going to make you happy. That's an illusion. What makes a person happy, of course, assuming that you marry the right person, is that first of all, you will act according to what is expected for you as a Jewish person. Not buying your wife and you granite in the kitchen or building bedrooms and doing all this craziness. That's not, again, assuming you marry the right person. What make a man happy, a Jewish man, what should make a Jewish man happy, and I say should, depends on how much the klippah has hovered over you, is not that his wife is going to, I don't know what, look great, or make him amazing dinners. It's first of all that she would act like a Bat Israel Kdosha, something that is a vessel that is fit to hold within itself the pure Jewish neshama. We have it all wrong. We watch too many movies. We get too many ideas from places that we should not get in ideas. That's what makes us all lost. That's a mistake that people make. No diamond ring, no Rolex, no Gucci bag, whatever Gucci bag, was it Prada bag, I don't know, whatever, you know what I'm saying. These are for fools. This is for the Erev Rav. These are for people who are interested in externalism. What will make your wife happy is if you would act as a gentleman, not as a Cossack. And your wife will act like a nice Jewish lady, a true Eshet Chayil, not like a woman who has a sewer mouth. A true Bat Israel and to a true Ben Torah. And this is the gathering to be makhil self internally. In other words, you need to make a movement inside of you. You need to strengthen your Jewish core. You can do all the muscles in the world and go to the gym and lift weights. If you don't work on your core, you're going to collapse. Core exercises. Internally also, core exercises. I told you many times, in the world of martial arts, there is an exercise when you stand on one leg and your limbs are stretched like this to the side. And that is not just to see if you have balance, because your external balance somehow would reflect your internal balance. Talking about martial arts, this shiur is dedicated to the refuah shlema of Chaim Israel Halevi ben Batya, Chana Aliza bat Shendel Nechama, Shimona Netana bat Chana, and Avraham ben Esther. So one of the problems of this is we get confused. The world outside confuses us. The world outside tells you have to reach this and you have to do that and you have to do this. The world outside doesn't tell you have to be kovea itim la Torah. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. With all your doctorates and all your PhDs and all your professorship, that's not going to buy you a ticket to Olam Haba. You're not going to enter to Olam Haba and saying, excuse me, what have you done? Well, I have a PhD from Guatemala University, They ain't going to give you a ticket. If you think so, it's a mistake. You're investing in the wrong. You are confused. You are dazed and confused. You need to invest in your neshama. You need to invest in learning Torah, in refining yourself to become a true diamond. We jump all the time. Today we have tremendous what we call Heseh Hadat. We get distracted very easily. We have those telephones all the time, like Pavlov's dogs. It rings, we jump. It rings, we jump. It doesn't make a difference if it's on Shabbat. It rings, you jump. You're like a dog. You don't have any kind of, discipline. If you're going to be in the battlefield, you die. Every little crack, you'll jump. And you know what has to do with our lifestyle. If, for example, you would have been hunters, you would know that you have to be very selective what you're shooting and how you're shooting and when you're shooting, or sending an arrow, whatever that is. We got used to everything coming out of the supermarket. We have no idea. We forgot, or maybe deliberately forgot, where is our food coming from? What needs to be done. We get distracted, and it's very convenient to us to get distracted. We want to get distracted. I mean, did you notice how many people have ADD? And they have a problem concentrating? You're off. If you have problems concentrating, you're off. Maybe you should go become a cowboy, go up to the desert, live and run nothing. Maybe then, I don't know. But you're off. We are all off. We can't do a task from beginning to an end. Well, maybe if you've been on a horseback somewhere in Arizona, in the desert, you'll understand why it is to get up in the morning and to work from morning to dusk. And that will give you longevity. You got it all wrong. You think you are the best thing ever happened. You're not. You have no idea how corrupted you are. So you got to pull yourself with discipline and to do what needs to be done. You need to learn to become focused. Everybody's smoking dope nowadays. It's crazy. That's not going to make you spiritual. Smoking dope ain't going to make you spiritual. What's going to make you spiritual is, first of all, ability to focus and concentrate. And we all, we jump from one thing to another. We're moving from this. We don't develop gung fu. We don't develop this ability to sit down and to learn something and to just stick to it and do it. People, this guy is like, I don't know what. One time he's a real estate agent. Tomorrow he's a pilot. Next day he's going to Timbuktu to Bangladesh to upholster Mercedes for people who cannot afford it. And he's saving the polar bears in Africa. That's how we are. And we're very busy with our parnasa, about how to live and so on and so forth, until there is no time for us to really stop and to really look and contemplate on really great things, on truthfully great things, to really build the strong will that would help us come out from our physical limitation, this materialistic limitation of this world. So in this parashat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the mitzvah of the Mishkan with very specific indications of how to really build the spiritual structure that it's really standing in front of us, to build the spiritual world or structure, spiritual structure, and to really remove it and separate it from this world that we at. A very specific and unique place to connection and to be able to hold or to bring about the light of the Shekhinah in a distance of generation, that's called the Mishkan. And for us, it was also Beit HaMikdash. And it's very difficult for us to really grasp the magnitude of the Mishkan, or what the Mishkan was in Am Yisrael. Every single day, we have something to worry about from this world, whether it's a sanitation department or some tickets that you get or who knows what. Instead of that, every single day should be dedicated and focused for a internal connection, for internal dveikut in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every single day, there should be a day of spiritual elevation that would enable us to really build this will to really connect ourselves back to our roots. And then we're not going to feel lost. Unfortunately, there's, one of the things that we lost that help us is to create a Jewish culture. And I'm sorry to tell you that there is no such thing as a true Jewish culture anymore. We got so far removed. So therefore, since there's no culture, the only thing that we have left is to connect to is the Torah, not your telephone. Torah over telephone, guys. So if we're going to talk, for example, of the concept of vacation, the word vacation is two different elements instantaneously in the same time. The first one is really the stoppage of constant action. You're always doing something and so on and so forth. In a state of simply stopping and not doing anything. The other one is much deeper and it's much more spiritual as well. Chofesh in Hebrew, chufsha is vacation. The word vacation, you see, that's the problem, by the way, when you speak other words than your language, because languages were created in the environment of the we're at. And words creates different meanings in different languages. And it's very important that you would learn your language, and your language is Hebrew. I don't understand parents that live in America. They came to America from, let's say, Russia, but they're insisting on the children to speak Russian. I mean, what, you're going back? Why are you going there? Why aren't you insisting, A, on you learning Hebrew, B, teaching your children Hebrew? Why in the world you need to learn Russian? Why? For what's the purpose? Are you a Jew or you're a Russian? It's crazy that they have guys that don't know how to speak Hebrew, but they can speak Russian. I just don't understand that. They can't even read Hebrew appropriately. I think I can speak Chinese better than some people speak Hebrew. Or Japanese, which I know a few words. So the word chufsha in Hebrew is vacation. Chufsha milshon chofesh. So depends, what are you chofshi from? Why are you free? It means, chufsha means freedom, a certain aspect of freedom. So some people separate themselves from work, freedom from obligation, and other people go on vacation, on freedom from externalism. We have a tendency to go on vacation, to go to distances, far distances, and so on and so forth. And he gives us some, very beautiful views. I mean, if you go to Japan, it's beautiful. You go to Argentina, over there, it's beautiful. There's places. But it also gives us the advantage of a vacation, that it gives us a chance to really be exposed to something else and maybe reflect on yourself. Unfortunately, most people don't do that. Most people go do it for the food, for the attractions, and so on and so forth. But not actually seeing how people live and how do you live, so to have a reflection on yourself. And it's very fascinating that specifically in our generation, in this time and day and age of self-fulfillment and achieving, that a person in a way can find himself really doing well in his own actions, that culture of freedom and rest becomes a greater, takes a greater, momentum. That momentum really shows us that there is, because of that, there is a great emotional and spiritual that is deep to reach for something. However, we don't want to dwell into that, so therefore we fill ourselves with physical things, like how much could you eat at the free bar at the cruise to whatever. Something is missing inside of you, and that's why you're looking to go to freedom for vacation. But instead of really examining and exploring that, eat until you drop. And that is something that Rabbi Yitzchak Arama also tries to hint. The pasuk that opens this parasha goes like this: Sheshet yamim ta'aseh melacha. 6 days you should do your work. Uvayom hashvi'i, on the 7th day, yeh lachem kodesh, is going to be holy for you. Shabbat Shabbaton leHashem. Sabbath for God. And he explains that the word shvita is not just like preventing yourself from doing kind of work and depriving yourself from action and so on and so forth. But even more so, and much more so, that shvita, that resting, is supposed to allow you to free yourself from the burden of actions, of physical actions, of work, in order to allow you to connect yourself to a higher spiritual realm. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing us a favor. The message that Shabbat carries is that recognition of the spirituality of mankind, and to bring that to a form of an expression. And how do we do so? By temporarily stopping all kind of actions that we are doing. In other words, the initiation of Shabbat together with the spirituality is also freedom. Or should I say, first of all, freedom, because now you're doing what God wants you to do, not what your boss wants you to do. But spirituality is, so you see, true freedom has to be with spirituality. Because we got used to certain types of tyranny, whether it's your boss, whether it's your own demons, and we substitute it now, instead of having Shabbat, with physical things. So we're not going to seek some kind of like internal elevation. We're going to eat until we drop. Again, the eating, the sleeping. Sleeping on Shabbat, people will tell you, oh, the Ari, I know what the Ari says. But sleeping on Shabbat is a missed opportunity for you to actually do something to yourself, to elevate yourself, and to bring yourself to a level of itpa'alut, of amazement. Because when you're sleeping, you're dead. So I just don't understand why people are so obsessed with eating and sleeping. Actually, I do, but I just still don't understand that. Now, what I do understand, and that's why people are also afraid of keeping Shabbat, is that separation is challenging. It would challenge you to separate from your world, even if you're a boss and you are a big shot, now you're just like everybody else. So that by itself is a challenge, and it's not an issue of theology or religion or anything like this at all. But rather you need to actually maybe look at it from a place of values, to really receive your family back. So on Shabbat, it's very nice. Listen, there were times I used to learn 16, 17 hours a day. But Shabbat was dedicated to my family only. I talked to my wife, I talked to my kids, I made small talk with my kids, I made small talk with my wife. I don't need to impress you that I learned 16, 17 hours as well on Shabbat, because I'll be lying and I'll be wrong. You need to celebrate the fact that you have a family, the fact that you have a wife, the fact that you have a husband, the fact that you have children, the fact that you have family. To receive that family back, you need an attention. So I'm not saying don't learn on Shabbat, but don't learn all Shabbat. Go home to your family. Spend time with your wife. Go for a little walk when weather permitting. But we got it all wrong. Not to disconnect from the family. To truly be with them. Don't use your Torah learning to break away from your family. Right? Connect with them. This would be by itself almost like a person lahavdil when you do weights or you exercise a lot. You need some time to recuperate. Once a week, your body needs to rest. You don't do anything. Let your body recuperate. Let all the stressors that came upon you and your wife and your children and your family throughout the week, Recuperate on Shabbat. Eliminate this. You don't have to worry about parnasa, you don't have to worry about money, you don't have to worry about your job, you don't have to worry about your telephone that I hope your job's dead. Pay attention to your wife. Pay attention to your kids. Roll on the floor with them. Build something with them. Don't worry, you're not that important. I forgot which rabbi was that. I forgot. Somebody told me he came to his house. He saw. I forgot which rabbi it was. He was rolling on the floor with his grandkids. Why not? Why not? You know how many Israelis I know that are completely secular, that they say, oh, my grandfather was a big rabbi. But the grandfather never rolled on the floor. That's what today, they're secular. Maybe. So, again, the telephones are terrible. Telephones are terrible and they make you become failures. Whether it's at work, whether it's at school, put your telephones away. You see, I got a holster. I live in New York, therefore I cannot have a gun, unfortunately. But I got myself a holster to put my phone in. So put your telephone in a holster and leave it there. Let me tell you something. If there's going to be an emergency, most likely there's nothing much you can do. Call 911. You call the doctors. If this is an emergency, please hang up and call 911. So the same thing here. Leave your message on the phone, right? If this is an emergency, please call 911. Otherwise, please leave me a message. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Believe me, you're going to achieve much more doing that. You're going to learn much more. You're going to know much more. You're going to learn how to focus. It's terrible what we do to ourselves. My teacher told me that throughout his career in martial arts, he had something like 20,000 students that came through the dojo, both here in Israel. And out of that, maybe only 250 black belts. I guess all the others had telephones. It shows something. So it's very good that you could have this conversation with your wife or with your kid without any kind of interruptions, without the telephone, without your boss calling, without an emergency. Ratzai Shabbat, there's no emergency. The rabbi from Neshchiz says that the promise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he promised us, Heneni mamtir lachem lechem min hashamayim, I'm going to rain bread on you from the heavens. It wasn't only for one particular time, but it's still here and existing until this given day. And still the parnasah comes to each and every one of us from that bracha of the man. As much as HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought while Bnei Israel were in the desert, brought them the man, as much as the man was covered with dew from above and the bottom, from the bottom and top, so is mechuse betal, so is our parnasah is covered with tal. And why dafka tal? Besides being a wonderful name of a wonderful girl, it happens to be my daughter, there is something to that. In other words, it seems like that the person, his hishtadlut, his effort to deal with lametet melachot, with all those avot melacha in the Mishkan, that's what brings you the bracha, really is not like that. Not for you doing the work. You think that you do all the avot melacha, that's what's going to bring you the man. No. It all has to do with your kavana. A person could do with lametet melachot, with 39 melachot, during the weekdays, with the ratzon, to receive to himself, only to himself, to himself, to himself. And this is chas v'shalom is going to be a burden, it's going to be an opaque, a sealment around him. That's not going to work out. However, this lametet melachot could come also to lametet klalot, which we had as well. However, only if you have the ratzon, you going out in the will to be able to be mashpia, to help people, to bring about light into people's life, and so on and so forth. only then you could build the Mishkan with the Lametet Melachot, which is turned up to be Tal Orot, the 39 types of lights. Tal and Lametet is the same thing. So you could do the same work, but one could become a bracha, and one become a source of light of bracha, one will be a klala, a curse, and one will be a source of light, which will be a bracha. However, the whole entire shefa of the Lametet Melachot comes from Shabbat, where you not doing the Lametet Melachot. The man, the parnasa comes for the level in which you observe the Shabbat, and which your intent was to observe the Shabbat as well. How much Shabbat was important to you? How much you were particular in Shabbat? You didn't look for loopholes. When you're going to look through loopholes, money will come to you also through a loophole. It's not going to come through a pipe. Stop looking for loopholes. Put all your effort in. This whole entire shefa that comes from the bracha of Shabbat is really for us to be mitchazek in the emunah shlema and complete belief that it's not our effort that bring us this chayil, but rather the source of parnasa and the source of bracha comes to us from doing melechet shamayim, building the mishkan, la'asol bechol melechet machshevet. And it says there on Shabbat in the Gemara, melechet machshevet asra Torah, in Chagiga Amud. Give up. In other words, melacha, that there is chashiva vekavana. The Mishkan needs everything to have the proper kavana and the proper thinking. Don't work like a robot. Chazal counted as Lametet, as 39 melachot, and they used that for building the Mishkan, and they divided it into different groups. 11 was the melachot that has to do with the samemanim for the dyes and so on, all the covers of the Mishkan. 13 were the melachot where the person received a specific job, right? So of course it's clear that when the job was to actually not the dyes, the specific job of making the yeriot, the covers themselves. 7 was the melachot of covering the skins of the elks or the deer or whatever it was, and the orot chashim and so on and so forth. And 8 was the melachot for building the Mishkan. Now, if you remember the numbers I just told you, 13, 11, 8, and 7, that's exactly the numbers of the 11 Yotzitzit. And so says Rav Nachman Mibreslev, Tal Kishrei Tzitzit, the 39 knots of the tzitzit are against Lametet Melachot. And they're metakenotam, you're fixing them. While the 39 melachot actions come from Sitra Achara, koshrot et ha'adam amok yoter b'imkei ha'gashmiyut. Doing your work, your regular work, will make you more materialistic, and by doing so you're falling further down into the mud. The knots of the tzitzit supposed to free you from the ropes of this world, this physical world, and attach you and tie you to the true spiritual word. And the order of the knots of the tzitzit, as we said, is Sheva, Shmone, Achatesre, Veshlosesre. 7, 8, 11, 13. Against the melachot that we say for the Mishkan. And then look if Likutei Halachot, the Halachot Tzitzit of Rav Nachman. So the work of man is really to free himself from the ropes of this physical world and really attach yourself to the spiritual world, to the true spiritual world, especially since our neshama right now is in a place, as we said in the Mesilat Yesharim, in a place that there are many subjects that try to remove it from being connected to what it really should be, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara tells us that this world is like a dream. The Gemara says in Masechet Brachot, wow, Daf Yudaled. Amar Rav Zeira said, Kol halan shivat yamim belo chalom nikra ra. If a person sleeps 7 days without a dream, it's something bad. The Vilna Gaon says this bizarre statement to our case, and he says that as much as all the things of whatever you see in a dream seem to you like a true reality, like something that really happened, when you open your eyes, you see that everything was a dream. There was nothing real about it. So is going to be in the Geulah, in the final redemption that is going to come, Shene'emar, because it says, Shir HaMa'alot B'shuv Hashem et Shivat Zion, Hayenu Kecholmim, Chazak u'Baruch. And that is in Psalms
129?
126, verse
15.
1. One day is going to come the great day where we're going to open our eyes and we're going to awaken from this dream that we had of like 120 years or whatever, and we see that everything that happened to us was from the hands of Hashem. That's why if a person sleeps 7 days, that he's also is holding on to this reality for 7 days, including Shabbat. Therefore, it's bad. Shabbat came to wake you up from the dream and to show you what everything is really out. How the world could manage without you. How your business is not going to hurt if you close on Shabbat. Shabbat is here to wake you up. So therefore, if you are dreaming for 7 days, you are bad. Listen, buddy, you're doing something wrong.
If you do dream for 7
days? If you don't dream for 7 days. Because it means that even on Shabbat, you are still attached to this world. And Shabbat is even higher than the Mishkan itself, the building the Mishkan. Because the tzivui of the Mishkan did not, building the Mishkan, or to that matter, even the temple in Jerusalem, cannot override the commandment of Shabbat. So this is a once in a week chance, this Shabbat, to be awakened from the dream. To awaken and from fantasy into reality, to disconnect yourself from all the troubles, to contemplate, to look, to achieve what we call menuchat nefesh, a place of spiritual tranquility, to attach yourself as much as you can in the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Abotai, this Shabbat, today is Thursday, try to make it different. Try to put some more light on your Shabbat. If you don't remember what I said, listen to it again. If you don't agree with what I said, you don't have to agree, just do what I say. Fix your tzitziyot, Rabotai. Fix your tzitziyot. Make sure your tzitziyot are nice. Don't come to shul and use the shul talit. Bring your own talit from home. Make sure it's clean. Make sure that you make the knots. I know people that have a problem starting a tzitzit and finish it. And you could see how much they are connected to this world. Be makpid. Today, Baruch Hashem, you could buy even tchelet for your tzitzit. The Mishkan al-Tchelet, Ptil Tchelet, Mishkan al-Tchelet is the company. Ptil Tchelet, according to many Rabbanim, that is the tchelet, the original tchelet. Many years. I can tell you for about almost 30 years I debated, should I put him on or shouldn't I put him on? And then I asked some big Rabbanim, and I asked them, and I rely on them for everything. And they told me, yes, that's the real one. So I put my tchelet on, it's just expensive, I didn't put them all of them, I put it on my tzitzit of Shabbat. I bought a nice wool tzitzit. I put it on the tchelet. And I gotta tell you something. I love it. I look at it. I feel, when I look at my tzitzit, and I made it like Rav Amram Gaon. When I look at my tzitzit, I'm not joking. Believe me. I feel like a feeling of love. Like you see somebody you love. I go like this, I'm happy. I cannot tell you the feeling that I have when I put the tzitzit on me on Shabbat with the tchelet. Be careful with your tzitzit. Don't look for reasons to take your tzitzit out. Look for reasons to put it on. And when you put it on with the bracha. Put it on with the right attitude. This is the tal. This is the light that would fix. The talit katan will fix your or primi. The or primi is what is chashuv for us to bring it up and to shine from inside out. We need to get this going. We cannot all be external. We need our keilot, and that's what it says, Vayakhel. We need keilot, so therefore we need to do what needs to be done to enhance our communities. We have to stop being selfish. And we have to stop being stupid. To think that we know it all, and everything that we do, we got it because we work hard. Everything that you get is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to give it to you. You need to just make sure to earn it in His eyes every single time. It will be more important if you spend, instead of going to vacation to some, Dubai, if you spend some time and come to Bet Medrash 1 week without any interruption, and then go at lunch and have some nice lunch with your wife at home, and then come back and learn again at night. Believe me, that's going to be the best vacation you can have. Shabbat Shalom.